There's a moment with money that almost everyone has, even if they've never really put words to it. You finally save up a chunk, not a fantasy number, not quit your job money, just enough that it actually feels like something. For a lot of people, that number is around $5,000, like you see it sitting there in your account. And for a second, you feel proud, like, okay, I did that. I didn't blow it. I didn't panic. I didn't give up halfway. It's real. And then that pride quietly turns into pressure, because now the questions start showing up. Should I invest this? Am I being irresponsible if I don't? What if I mess this up? Nobody talks about how strange that transition feels. One day, you're just trying to save. The next day, you're expected to suddenly become a calm, rational investor who understands risk, timelines, and the long term without flinching. I remember hitting that moment myself. I didn't feel rich. I felt watched, like this number was silently asking me what kind of person I was going to be. I'm Donki, by the way. And I've spent a weird amount of my life thinking about why money decisions feel so emotional, even when we pretend they're not. Mostly because I've reacted badly to them plenty of times. Here's what usually happens next. You do what everyone says is the responsible thing. You invest it. Maybe not all at once. Maybe you ease in. You read a bit, you don't do anything wild, you tell yourself you're being reasonable, and then, almost inevitably, the number goes down. Not dramatically, not in a headline-worthy way. Just enough that you notice, enough that when you open the app, something in your chest tightens a little, and this is the exact moment most people quietly quit investing. Not loudly, not angrily. They don't swear it off forever. They just stop adding money, or they pull it out and say they'll try again when things feel clearer. Or they leave it invested but stop looking, which feels healthy but often turns into avoidance. And the strange part is, if you ask them why, they wouldn't say, because I lost money. They'd say, I realized investing wasn't really for me. That sentence sounds logical, mature even, but underneath it is usually something else entirely. What's actually happening at this $5,000 moment isn't about strategy or intelligence. It's about expectations colliding with reality in a way no one prepares you for. Before this point, money feels kind of theoretical. It's numbers on a screen, goals, plans. One day, thinking losing $50 hurts, but it doesn't shake you, you can shrug it off. But $5,000 isn't abstract anymore. That's time. That's discipline. That's saying no to things. That's proof you can actually save. It starts to feel like part of your identity. So when it drops to $4,800, your brain doesn't say normal market movement. It says, you screwed up. And what makes it worse is how alone that feeling feels. Nobody around you is announcing their early investing losses. Social media is full of calm charts and confident voices talking about staying the course like it's obvious and painless. So when you feel anxious, you assume it's because you're doing something wrong. I remember checking my portfolio during one of those early dips and immediately wanting to explain myself to no one. Like I needed to justify my choices to an imaginary committee of financially competent adults. That's when I realized something important. Most people don't quit investing because they can't handle losing money. They quit because they weren't emotionally prepared for what normal actually feels like. We all walk into investing with a quiet, unspoken belief. If I do this responsibly, it shouldn't feel bad. Not amazing, not exciting, just fine, manageable, confirming. So when the first meaningful amount goes down, instead it feels like a signal. Like maybe you entered too early, or didn't learn enough, or picked the wrong thing, or maybe investing is something other people are just better at. And because the pain is emotional, not logical, the solution we choose is emotional too. We step back. We protect the money. We protect our sense of competence. We tell ourselves we'll come back later when we're more confident, more informed, more ready. The problem is later rarely comes, not because people are lazy, but because once you associate investing with that feeling of quiet dread, Your brain remembers. It doesn't want to relive it. This is where the $5,000 moment becomes a fork in the road. Some people interpret it as a warning sign. Others eventually realize it's more like an initiation. Every long-term investor you admire has lived through this moment. They just didn't necessarily recognize it as important at the time. They felt the discomfort, questioned themselves, and kept going anyway. Not because they were braver or smarter, but because they slowly learned something most people never get taught. Investing isn't hard because the math is complicated. It's hard because it asks you to sit calmly while your emotions do the opposite. And the first time that happens, it feels personal. The thing that actually helps here isn't forcing yourself to be disciplined or repeating slogans about time in the market. It's understanding what this moment really is. This isn't a test you failed. It's the first time your money stopped being hypothetical. Up until now, investing was an idea, a concept, advice you nodded along to. Now it's real enough to hurt a little. That's not a flaw. That's the entry fee. Think about it like learning to drive. The first time you stall the car, you don't conclude you're incapable of driving forever. You feel embarrassed, frustrated, maybe a bit shaken. And then eventually you try again. But with money, we treat every mistake like a personality diagnosis. I'm just not good with this stuff. That sentence has ended more investing journeys than any market crash ever has. What usually works better at this stage is lowering the emotional stakes, not raising your confidence overnight. Smaller contributions, fewer check-ins, reframing dips as tuition instead of verdicts, not pretending it doesn't hurt, just understanding why it does. Because once you see that this $5,000 moment isn't a failure point, but a learning curve, it stops feeling like a wall. It starts feeling like a threshold. And the people who get past it don't do anything dramatic. They just stay. They stay confused a little longer, uncomfortable a little longer, human a little longer. And over time, that discomfort fades. Not because the market becomes predictable, but because their relationship with it changes. That shift is subtle, quiet, easy to miss. But it's the difference between investing being something you tried once and something that slowly becomes part of your life. And it usually starts right here, when the number first goes down and you decide what that moment means. What makes this moment especially tricky is that nobody warns you how ordinary it is. We tend to imagine that people who stick with investing have some special mindset, that they're naturally patient or unusually logical or just less emotional about money. But when you actually listen to their stories, that's not what you hear. You hear a lot of, yeah, I was nervous at first, or I almost pulled out, or I stopped checking my account for a while because it stressed me out. The difference isn't that they didn't feel the discomfort. It's that they didn't interpret it as a sign to quit. And that interpretation is where most of us get tripped up. Our brains are wired to protect us from danger, not to optimize long-term outcomes. So when something feels bad, even mildly bad, the instinct is to avoid it next time. From an evolutionary standpoint, that makes perfect sense. Touch fire, get burned, don't touch fire again. The problem is investing isn't fire, it just feels like it. A small loss triggers the same internal alarm system as a real threat. Your heart rate picks up. Your thoughts start racing. You replay the decision. You imagine worse outcomes, and suddenly pulling back feels like relief. That relief is powerful and very misleading. I remember convincing myself that I was being prudent by stepping away. I'll wait until things settle down, I told myself. No rush. It sounded wise, but what I was really doing was avoiding the feeling of uncertainty. And here's the subtle trap. Avoidance feels like control. When you stop investing, you stop feeling exposed. You stop feeling judged by the numbers. You stop that low-grade anxiety that comes with watching something fluctuate. But you also stop giving yourself the chance to build tolerance, because tolerance is the real asset here. We talk a lot about risk tolerance in investing, like it's a number you discover by filling out a questionnaire, but in reality, it's something you develop by experience. And the first time you experience volatility with money that actually matters to you, your tolerance is understandably low. That's normal. What's not helpful is expecting it to be higher than it is. A lot of people assume that once they learn enough, the fear will go away. That confidence comes first and action follows. But in most cases, it's the opposite. You act while feeling unsure, and confidence slowly catches up. Think about how many things in life work that way. New jobs, relationships, moving to a new place. You don't wait until you feel perfectly calm to take the step. You take the step, feel uneasy for a while, and eventually that uneasiness fades into familiarity. Investing is no different. It just has numbers attached to it, which makes everything feel more official. Another thing that makes the $5,000 moment so sticky is that it often coincides with comparison. You start noticing what other people are doing. Someone mentions a stock that doubled. Another person casually talks about their returns. Online, it seems like everyone else is either crushing it or totally unfazed by losses, so when your own account dips, it doesn't just feel bad, it feels isolating. Like you missed some class everyone else attended. What you don't see are the quiet moments behind the scenes, the people who held through drops, the ones who made boring choices, the ones who didn't have a good story to post because nothing dramatic happened. Most investing success looks painfully uninteresting in real time, and that's part of the problem. Our brains are drawn to movement, excitement, resolution. Long stretches of nothing much feel wrong, even though they're often exactly what's needed. This is why so many people treat their first meaningful investment like a performance review. They watch closely, they evaluate constantly, they look for immediate feedback, but investing isn't a test you pass or fail quickly. It's closer to learning a language. At first, everything feels slow and awkward. You make mistakes, you don't see progress. And then, one day, you realize you're understanding more than you thought. If you quit too early, you never get to that moment. One thing that helped me reframe this stage was separating money risk from identity risk. Losing a few $100s isn't the same as being irresponsible. It doesn't mean you're bad with money. It doesn't mean you made a stupid decision. But when the money represents effort and self-worth, it's easy to blur those lines. So instead of asking, am I good at investing? A better question is, am I learning how I react to uncertainty? That's a much fairer standard because the truth is you can follow every right rule and still see your account go down in the short term. Markets don't care about your intentions or your research or how carefully you chose. They move, sometimes against you, sometimes for you, often sideways. Once you accept that, the emotional stakes shift. You stop treating every dip like a judgment and start seeing it as information, not about the market necessarily, but about yourself. Do I check too often? Do I panic when things move quickly? Do I feel the urge to do something just to feel in control? Those insights are incredibly valuable, and you only get them by being invested long enough to feel uncomfortable. Another quiet mistake people make at this stage is thinking they need to fix the feeling. They look for ways to eliminate anxiety completely. The perfect strategy, the perfect asset allocation, the one setup that finally lets them relax. But some level of discomfort never fully goes away. Even experienced investors feel it during downturns. The difference is that they've learned how to coexist with it. They've learned that feeling uneasy doesn't require immediate action. That's a skill. And like any skill, it takes repetition. One practical thing that often works better than people expect is shrinking the scale of decisions. Instead of focusing on the 5,000 as a whole, you focus on the process. Am I contributing regularly? Am I diversified enough for my comfort level? Am I avoiding impulsive changes? When the focus shifts from outcomes to habits, the emotional swings soften. You stop feeling like each market move demands a response. You also give yourself permission to be imperfect, to adjust, to learn as you go. That permission is huge because most people don't quit investing because they think it's pointless. They quit because they think they're doing it wrong. And often, they're not. They're just early. They're just new to having enough money that the fluctuations matter emotionally. They're just encountering the part of the journey that nobody glamorizes. The $5,000 moment is uncomfortable because it's the first time investing asks something real of you. Not money, but patience. Not knowledge, but emotional steadiness. It's okay if you don't have that yet. Nobody starts with it. The important thing is recognizing that this stage isn't a dead end, it's a passage. And like most passages worth taking, it feels uncertain while you're in it. That uncertainty doesn't mean you should stop. It means you're exactly where you're supposed to be. At some point, usually without any dramatic moment to mark it, the relationship starts to change. You don't suddenly become fearless. You don't stop caring. You just notice that the numbers don't hijack your mood the way they used to. A dip still registers, but it doesn't feel like a personal crisis anymore. It feels familiar. That's when you realize the $5,000 moment did its job. It taught you what volatility feels like when it matters. It showed you how your mind reacts under uncertainty. It exposed the gap between what you thought investing would feel like and what it actually does. And once you've lived through that, something important happens. The fear loses its authority, not because the risk disappeared, but because you've already faced it once and survived. Nothing broke. You didn't ruin your life. You didn't prove anything terrible about yourself. You just had money go down for a while. That realization sounds obvious, but emotionally it's huge. A lot of people assume the goal is to reach a point where investing feels comfortable all the time. In reality, the goal is to reach a point where discomfort doesn't automatically control your decisions. That's a much quieter achievement, and it doesn't show up in your account balance right away. What usually works better long-term isn't trying to outsmart the market or predict the next move. It's building a system that respects your human limits. That might mean investing smaller amounts so fluctuations don't dominate your thoughts. It might mean checking less often. It might mean choosing boring options on purpose because excitement is expensive emotionally. None of that makes you weak. It makes you honest. One of the most helpful shifts I ever made was stopping the internal narration. I stopped asking, "What does this say about me?" every time the market moved. I stopped turning normal ups and downs into stories about competence and failure. Instead, I treated investing like brushing my teeth. Something you do regularly, imperfectly, without expecting applause or instant results. When you frame it that way, progress becomes less dramatic but more durable. And here's something else that doesn't get said enough. Stepping back temporarily doesn't make you a failure either. If you pulled your money out once because it felt overwhelming, that doesn't disqualify you from ever investing again. It just means you learned something about your tolerance at that time. The danger isn't pausing, it's deciding that pause defines you. The story most people tell themselves after the $5,000 moment is, "I tried and it didn't work for me." But a more accurate version is usually, "I encountered uncertainty with money that mattered, and I didn't have the tools yet." Tools can be learned, tolerance can be built, perspective can change. None of that requires perfection. It just requires staying curious instead of judgmental with yourself. If you're listening to this and thinking about your own experience, the time you invested and panicked or hesitated or quietly stepped away, I don't think that moment should haunt you. I think it should be reinterpreted. That wasn't the moment you failed. That was the moment you discovered what investing actually asks of you. And most people discover it exactly the same way. The people who eventually make peace with investing aren't the ones who never felt scared. They're the ones who stopped treating fear as a verdict. They learn to let uncertainty exist without immediately trying to escape it. They learn that patience isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something you practice. And yes, sometimes you practice it badly at first. That's okay. Money has a way of amplifying our insecurities. It reflects our hopes, our mistakes, our desire to feel capable. So of course, the early stages feel heavier than we expect. But over time, if you stay with it, that weight redistributes. It becomes less about proving something and more about participating in a process. You stop asking, "Am I doing this right?" every 5 minutes. You start asking, does this still make sense for my life? That's a much healthier question. If there's one thing I hope sticks with you, it's this. Progress in investing is rarely about bold moves. It's about quiet consistency and emotional forgiveness. Forgiveness for starting later than you wanted. Forgiveness for mistakes you made early. Forgiveness for not feeling as confident as you think you should. You don't need to be fearless to invest. You just need to be willing to feel a little uncomfortable without walking away from yourself. That $5,000 moment feels like a wall when you first hit it. But if you stay long enough, you realize it was just a doorway. And you don't have to rush through it. You just have to recognize it for what it is. Not an ending, but a beginning that nobody warned you would feel this quiet, this human, and this normal.